So the Curepuck Gen 2, we wanted to make stickier, tastier, smoother flour. And in our quest to create the best flour possible through curing, we discovered a lot of things in the Gen 1 and we've implemented them in the Gen 2. And so things such as the accuracy of the sensors. We had very high accuracy sensors in the Gen 1 Curepuck. Although the room sensor was a little bit less accurate than the chamber sensor. We've now upgraded the room sensor to the same accuracy, so it's plus or minus 1%. That's quite important in the world of curing because we're trying to get in such a tight tolerance. The difference between flour that is a water activity of 0.60 and 0.55 can be quite different. And so if you have a sensor or a system that is plus or minus 3%, so a 6% range, your ability to land in the sweet spot of say 0.59 water activity becomes quite difficult. Adding these high definition sensors makes that more possible. And so plus or minus 1% is highly accurate. The Gen 2 also has faster processor and more memory. This allows us to do faster processes internally, better algorithms, and it allows us to upgrade the Curepuck easier as we improve. We're constantly creating new algorithms and new ways of curing, and this new generation allows us to constantly upgrade the puck with that information. The Gen 2 also allows you to burp off of CO2. Whereas the Gen 1 would only monitor CO2, the Gen 2 now allows you to burp off of CO2. So as your CO2 climbs, which is a good indication of other gases climbing as well, we've done many tests and we can test ethylene, ammonia, all these other gases. And so when the gas climbs, we want to be able to burp that off. Previously, we were only burping off of the moisture in the flour, off of water activity. Now we can burp off of CO2 as well. We've made it easier to use. So straight out of the box, the Curepuck will auto cure your flour. And as you're learning, you can start making adjustments to the settings in the Curepuck. It also has a variable speed pump. This allows the pump to modulate up and down depending on chamber size, as well as allowing the pump to cycle rapidly on larger containers to maintain a perfect moisture gradient. So it has a feature called Funk Guard. Funk Guard prevents your flour from getting a funky smell. And typically that funky smell is from too much moisture trapped inside the chamber for too long. And so the Curepuck will naturally ensure the moisture is down, but there are times where if it's not programmed correctly, or if there's changes made, or if the moisture climbs too rapidly, or stays high for too long, you can create this very minor funky smell. And so the Curepuck Gen 2 has algorithms that prevent that. It has a new feature called Hydrate Mode. This is more for emergencies. So if you were to overdry your flour and you want to introduce or put more moisture back into the flour, what you do is you take your flour and the Curepuck, put it into an environment with high humidity. So you increase the humidity in your room, either with a humidifier, you may pour water on the floor, however you're gonna get the humidity in that room up, and the Curepuck will slowly introduce that moisture back into the flour at a very controlled rate, and so it'll get you right to that exact precise water activity that you're looking for. So hybrid intelligent auto curing. So what is it? It's essentially a very precision way of landing on your target. So if you're far away from your target, the flour is quite moist, the Curepuck's gonna go full throttle ahead. As you approach your target, it's gonna slow down and throttle back, and it will actually even hit the brakes a little bit. The same way as if you were to imagine a space shuttle, it's flying towards the moon and you wanna land on the moon, full throttle, and as you approach, you slow down and then hit the brakes and land perfectly on your target. The Curepuck Gen 1 based this control off of RH set points, high and low limits. So what would happen is you'd approach your target and you'd overshoot and you'd come back and you'd do this a little bit. Now with the Gen 2, as you approach your target, you slow down, you land on target, and you stay straight on target the whole way. The Gen 2 also has VPD control. VPD is essentially showing how thirsty your air is for moisture. So VPD takes into account both temperature and RH, and ensures that the fluctuation in each, particularly temperature, is compensated for. This allows changes in your environment or in the chamber to ensure that the cure lands right on target. The VPD control itself is a whole set of videos, so we'll explain VPD, the nuances and how it works. The important thing to know is it adapts to the room environment. As your room warms or cools, the Curepuck will adapt.